Adoption stories can be highly motivating. It's nothing short of a loving divine intervention when a family chooses to make a lifelong compassionate pledge to help raise, safeguard and guide another human being. It is indeed a miracle whenever an adoptee meets their biological parents after more than 20 years on the other end of the globe for the sake of a single handwritten letter. But before we dig down deep, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell to get updated whenever a new video is published. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. For one student who finished college in 2018, a few hundred leaps and an old piece of paper are significant. She, like most of the others, represents the crossing of a powerful symbolic bridge. Katie Poehler, a dual major in music as well as public health, has been one of the students who managed to cross the bridge. She has also taken a few hundred leaps throughout a literal bridge half a world away a few years back. Her life was changed by the journey which connected her present with her past. It all began with a scrap of paper. It was 1996 and two families distanced by over 7,000 miles were just about to embark on a journey that has all the beginnings of a blockbuster movie. Ken and Ruth Poehler of Hudsonville, Michigan have two young boys and are considering adopting from China. The Hangzhou residents Xu Lida and Qian Fengxian are expecting their second child. With China's one-child regulation rigorously enforced and neighbourhood officials pressuring to tear down Xu and Qian's home if they don't terminate the pregnancy. Xu and Qian run and hide to Suzhou, where they gave birth on something like a boat in a Suzhou canal. The couple tries unsuccessfully to seek a relative or close acquaintance to take care of the baby. Without other choices, Xu walks to a busy part of the city and places the newborn in a basket to deliver to an orphanage. What makes the situation so intriguing is what else could be in this basket. Meanwhile, in Hudsonville, the Poehlers obtain a word from Bethany Christian Services that it will be possible to attain their new baby girl in only 7 months. The Poehlers are taken aback by how soon the procedure had progressed. The true surprise comes once they take her home later that year. Their closed adoption becomes tricky all of a sudden. It was essentially revealed by a message discovered in that basket. The Poehlers gave it to Bethany, a translator who understands the Chinese characters written in the letter. Ruth recalls that she was crying as she received it. And they're like, what the hell is going on? Then she shared it with the Poehlers, and they had their brother-in-law's mother, who is Chinese, check it well again, and various people might come to different conclusions, but it basically said she was adored and the authorities compelled them to do it. It was really moving, and if you don't know these individuals, it will strike your heart. The rest of the letter's content takes the scenario from intriguing to incomprehensible. In 10 or 20 years, Xu wants to see his child on the broken bridge in Hangzhou, China. You've got to be joking me if you say we'll reunite on a bridge in China 10 years later. How else will we make that work? The Poehlers gave their daughter the name Catherine, that's why her nickname is Katie, and hide a folder of adoption-related material in her closet along with the letter. Katie recalls being inquisitive and attempting several times climbing to get the folder and see what was in it. She was aware that it existed and that she might inquire if she so desired. Katie has no recollection of asking tons of inquiries concerning her birth or identity. Ruth does not really know either, with the exception of some early remarks such as, "Did Katie come from her tummy?" To which Ruth said, "She was conceived of Ruth's heart, but she came from such a woman in China." Ruth remembered Katie being pleased with her response. Ruth believes she told her daughter that they had a letter from her biological parent placed in her basket while she was still an infant and some information for her, and Ruth handed her a book about what was going on in China at the time she was born. They continued reminding her that if she had any worries about her adoption, that they would be happy to speak with her. However, life in Hudsonville goes on as usual until the Poehlers had a dinner guest, a buddy who worked as an engineer in China almost as the 10-year milestone looms. They inform their buddy more about the letter, and he tells the Poehlers that he does have contacts in Suzhou, and he offers if they would like him to send a scout to the footbridge at the 10-year marker to reconnect with the parents. They come to an agreement and send a letter for the event. On the same day, the biological parents showed up on the bridge, of course with yet another big twist. The Scout missed her train, appearing to wreck the plan until the Scout spots a TV team filming an irrelevant documentary on the bridge. The Scout explains why she's here, requests to see their video, and spots the couple on the bridge. The videographer finds TV gold, interviews the Scout, and indeed the story quickly captures the interest of the Chinese media as well as Katie's birth parents. It was becoming a tiny bit bigger than they had anticipated. Some years later, Chang Changfu, a Pennsylvania lecturer who makes adoption documentaries and travels to China regularly in search of stories, arrives. He discovers this astounding narrative and tracks down the Pohlers. The couple told him that they'd talk to him if he wouldn't mention their name or identity. At this point in Katie's very own story, they didn't want their daughter to have to cope with this. Changfu informed Katie's birth parents that he had identified their biological mother and proceeded to act as a link between them, sending out letters for the next 8 years. Katie is planning to study in Spain in 2015. She had a few inquiries 2 days before she departed. Katie anticipated that she would be asked more questions about her background since no one knew her, so she confronted her mother directly about Ruth's knowledge. Katie just wanted to be sure that she was on the right track at the time. Katie was well aware that her birth parents adored her whenever she inquired of her adopted parents. As a result of being kept in the dark, she had doubts about her adopted parents and was eager to learn the truth. Despite Ruth and Ken's responses to her questions, she couldn't figure out what was really going on. Ruth tells Katie that she and Dr. Changfu had indeed been speaking with her biological parents. Katie's search for her origins deepens after she arrives from Spain that winter. Katie looked up Dr. Changfu's name on Google, discovered his blog, and even realised a story about her. As she read the post, she was shocked about her biological family, and her adoptive parents. As a result, that was highly surreal. She then watched his adoption DVD, which includes her biological parents. Katie recounts that it was her first time seeing and hearing them and fully understanding their message and what they wanted Katie to know. Katie offers to take part in an emotional reuniting on Hangzhou's Broken Bridge, along with a BBC documentary crew after visiting Changfu, as well as discovering more. She was clearly anxious. She could tell she was worried, but she was more excited to finally meet them, and they just continued driving over and over since they had to film one time in perfect timing. Who would want to catch such a perfect moment, right? Katie kept overthinking as she got out and walked down the bridge. As it turns out, the movie's climax transpires with cameras filming and people forming. More significantly, a 20-year wish of a mum and dad is granted, and a daughter's individuality is strengthened. Katie believes that her biological parents are brave enough to do what needs to be done and strong enough to hold on to that last straw of hope that they will reunite with their long-lost daughter of 22 years. Their idea of sending somebody to the bridge was fair, and they clearly had no idea how things would turn out. However, millions of people already do, as it was televised. Finally, Katie is grateful that her tale has touched so many people. Katie is delighted that her journey began with adoption. It has helped encourage other people. She has been in contact with individuals who have been in similar circumstances, and merely speaking with all of them and sharing her journey has proven to be beneficial to some. The story is still unfolding. Katie communicates with her birth parents daily via SMS and Skype. Every day, her father Shu messages her good morning and good night. As of 2020, it was said that after Katie graduated, she took Mandarin classes to break the language barrier with her Chinese family. She also visits them in China quite frequently, together with the Pohlers. And that is all for today's video. What do you think about the story of Katie? Do you know someone with almost the same journey? What do you think would happen if the Pohlers told Katie sooner regarding the letter? Let us know what you think in the comments section down below. Before leaving, make sure to leave this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to get updated on our future content. With that being said, see you in the next one.